All right, hello. I picked up this little rubber stamp set at Michael's. It was in the planning section, and it's the months, days of the week, and then 1 through 31. I picked up the set for that, but what I didn't realize that included in the set was this little stencil. And I mean, you can just call it a planner stencil or bullet journal stencil, um, whatever floats your boat. But I figured I would test it out because I'm not a big, I mean, this is very flimsy. I don't know how it's going to work out. So I'm going to test it with a variety of materials. I'm going to try it with a pencil, a Frixion, a um, Paper Mate Ink Joy, a Bic Crystal, a Uniball Signo DX, and a Zebra Sarasa, and then I've got my Sumo Grip eraser just to test it out. And if you have any other requests for things for me to test it with, let me know, and I will grab, hopefully I have one of those items, and I'll test it out with that. So I'm just going to test it in my current pocket notebook because I've got to finish that up. This is the most wrecked I've ever had a pocket notebook get in a long time. I've had to washi tape the the stapled block to the cover because the cover's ripped out, and I've had to washi tape the spine. I haven't been doing a lot of note taking lately. So I haven't been going through my notebook all that quickly. So I just got to move things around a little bit. And and I'm fueling this test with some delicious coffee that I roasted last week. It's very tasty. If you have any questions, you can always hit the chat. I'm going to put live chat, and I'll answer your questions as I see them, if I see them. I just want to, I'm going to make a post on Facebook. All right, so now let me set the stuff aside. It comes in a little plastic sleeve. If anyone wants to know what music I'm listening to, I'm listening to Slacker Radio, the Mo station. So let me get my. This is a little magnetic bookmark that I can't remember who sent it to me. Someone sent me these magnetic bookmarks that are actually really super cool. Let me show you the other one. They come looking like crayons and pencils, and they just snap around a page in your book and magnetize. This one had a ruler on it that wasn't right, and my neuroses wouldn't allow me to have it be incorrect. The inch marks were off by like a quarter inch. So anyway, so I just took a big sticker and stuck it to it, and it's actually much sturdier than just the little paper thing, and it's great. So works wonderfully. Everyone should have some of those. All right. So this is just my shield that I put between my pages. All right. So why don't I start with let's start with that. This thing feels a little flimsy to me. It's very, very lightweight. I don't know if you can, I mean, you can roll it. I'm really afraid that, obviously, it's too big for me to fit into my pocket notebook and carry it along with me. Or I can't put it into my fodder stack and carry it with me because it's just too tall. So it doesn't fit inside my pocket notebook. It would fit inside a full-size Midori or other style notebook. So let's just start with that. And I think I'm just going to start with pencil. If anyone has any hints or tips on using these things, let me know. Yeah, it's very thin. So I find that it's kind of like I just screwed it up. You can see. It's very flexible. So that's with that pencil. I'll try it with the Frixion. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide it down. I'm lining it up by the dot grid on my pocket notebook. This is a no brand notebook, which is the which is the notebooks that I make. And yeah, you know what? I don't think I like stencils because I keep screwing this up. So there's the Frixion. And you can see that I screwed that one up too. And some of this is just user error because I don't do a lot of, I don't use a lot of stencils like this. All right, so this is the Bic Crystal Bold or Extra Bold 1.6. Yeah, so I think you really have to hold this down, particularly if you're using like the longer little spots like that. If you're not holding it down, it's gonna flux. Hey, Jesse. I don't know if anyone has tried any of the capped Papermate ink joys. I haven't reviewed them yet, but I mean, it's the exact same refill. All right, so let's see if I can get this. Yeah, so doing this at the top of a page is going to be hard because you really have to hold this down. If you can't hold it down, then it flexes a lot. All right, so now I'm going to do the Zebra Sarasa 0.7, which is a much maligned gel pen, but I actually really like it. All right, so if you hold it down like that, man, I still managed to screw it up. My stencil game down the page, and I'm able to hold that in place. It works better. All right, so now one of my personal favorite pens is the Uniball Signo DX in 0.38. These are a great little pen. You can get them at Staples now, so that's awesome. I've also got a review of these coming up. All right, so let me try doing the two sides like that. Honestly, I don't know when or where I would use a stencil like this, to be honest. I'm not that kind of bullet journaler, I guess. So yeah. So for the larger little things, it's for sure you're gonna have to hold it down, otherwise it flexes. This is just so floppy. All right. So let's try another. Actually, I want to try something smaller. I'm going to try something in the middle here. Let's do these triangles. Actually, you know what? These loops, the little cloud shapes, those are going to be hard for me. So I'm going to go for those. Might as well go for the difficult stuff, right? All right, so I'm going to go, this is, not that you can really see what it is anymore, but this is a Dom's X1 pencil and a little hacked together pencil cap thing that I created. All right, let's see how this works. How am I gonna hold this stuff down? All right, I'm gonna do this straight line first. And again, I can feel it. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that flex, but it did flex a little bit around there, just like it did here towards the top, where you can't stabilize it really well. So So there's some flex there that I think causes problems. All right, now I'm going to try the Frixion again. I'm going to move over. I'm going to try and stabilize this the best I can. All right, so this is a little better. I've got, it's stabilized more, and I think that helps. I mean, for sure, it's clear, and there wasn't as much flex in that as there was with the long, floppy shape. All right, let's try. And I think, some of this is just, you're going to end up with weirdness from this, like, using a stencil anyway. All right, so that one was better. So you can see, like, you get some stencil weirdness in there just because it's a stencil, but if you go slow, the shape comes out pretty good. And also, I found it, like, with a larger tipped pen, it does work better. All right, let's try, what did I do next? I did the Inkjoy. Yeah, so, the smaller shapes I think are easier, and it doesn't flop around as much. You don't have to worry so much about stabilization. And of course, if you've got some floppiness in your notebook itself, like this notebook, like I showed you in the beginning, is very beaten up. There's a lot of stuff going on with it. I'm gonna test these. I'm gonna test the squares and stuff. Which are actually, oh, look, there's a hexagon. We'll do the hexagon. I'm easily amused. All right, so I'm gonna stabilize that. We'll go down here and fit all those on there. I'm gonna stabilize that like I did the other. Yeah. All right, so smaller shapes definitely work a lot better. They're a lot smoother. Of course, I say that and my Frixion starts to bung up and not work well. Which is weird because these Frixion color sticks are usually pretty smooth. So, alright, where was I? Yeah, decidedly smaller shapes work better than the larger shapes on this thin, flimsy material. I don't know what the planner company was thinking when they put this out, what they were planning or thinking people would use with this, because it's not, I don't find this particularly useful. How is this, I mean, if I can't carry it around, first off, if I do carry it around, it's going to snap off here. That's going to be the weak spot, or it's going to snap off here. It's going to snap off either at one of the thinner spots where it doesn't have as much support, and then using this is kind of a pain in the butt. It's not, it's very thin and flimsy. You have to stabilize it. Obviously, smaller shapes do work better. Like that star shape works pretty well. The hexagon worked pretty well. And no, that star has some flex. That's annoying. And then I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I think I'm leaning towards that this thin, crap. These thin, flimsy doodads, the stencils are not particularly, and then anything around the particularly floppy elements, like this large opening that was very floppy and hard to do, is also floppy. So the star is a little floppy. You can see where I screwed that up because it flexed. Whereas the hexagons um, are stiffer. They have a lot more material around them. Um, so they came out pretty good. Let's try the dots here. And I could see these dots, see, but they're also not right for my dot grid. These are the really useful things for, I think, bullet journaling, are the being able to put dots at the top of your, or along down through your page, but they don't line up. So I'd have to um, line this up with the first one, then line up the second one, then line up the next one, and so on. Yeah, that would just be annoying to try and get my bullet journal dot grid going. I don't know. I don't see these elements as being particularly useful. I do think that the stuff like this square to highlight, okay, so maybe I want to do that particular thing soon, or I want to, I want to highlight this. Those could be useful, but overall, this little stencil is more of a pain in the butt than I think it's worth. It's too floppy. It doesn't fit in my notebook or pocket notebook. I mean, granted, this is not made necessarily for the pocket notebook crowd. You can go on Amazon and you can get bullet journal stencils that are made out of heavier plastic or steel or aluminum that are thicker and I think probably more useful than this is. And I've seen some of those, but they're also made to fit into a pocket notebook. I think this is made for the Midori traveler crowd versus someone who uses a pocket notebook like me. Sorry, a very, very annoying song just came on my mix. And that was just very distracting. So I guess my verdict is your mileage may vary. I mean, well, let's see how these little doodads go. I mean, this, you would just end up using that instead of I don't know. Or maybe you wouldn't use the whole triangle, you would just use that to highlight things. I don't know. I'm not seeing a whole lot of usefulness out of this. I mean, I guess it's a nice freebie for, maybe you would use it on occasion to create headings on your pages. I don't know. I think it's too floppy to be realistically used. And, I mean, my pencil just skates over the top of it. It is just thin Mylar. But, so yeah, my verdict is not particularly useful. These little elements, the smaller, tighter elements, are the most useful bit of the whole thing. Anything like you see something this floppy, anything with something that large is just not going to be particularly useful. Let's see if you can see this a little better. I mean, it's cute and all that, but not particularly useful, at least not in my world of what I do with bullet journaling. So for anyone who is interested, I've done some stuff with my bullet journaling on Facebook. But just like how I do bullet journaling, I have a weekly planner that I use for my day job. So I only bullet journal for my weekend stuff and side hustle stuff. So my weekend, this is an old one, every Saturday I roast my own coffee, and that's my bullet journal. I was making umeboshi back then. And then things that I do. So basically, that's my weekend. I use that for my weekend planning, and I usually try to give myself 3 to 5 things each day. So, and, sometimes it's as silly as doing laundry. And then I do have a habit tracker. I'm not going to explain all of it, but it's like very similar to a daily or monthly log where you put the day of the week, and then the habits that I want to track. I mean, W is for writing, the word count, and I'm not going to explain the rest of that stuff because that's private and personal. So that is what my bullet journaling looks like, and here are some of the other things that so this is my current tracker. I haven't filled it in for today yet. This was last week's, and this is this week's. So, it's just very, mine are minimal. I use my rubber stamp. I suppose I could find one of these that fits around. And of course, the only one that's going to fit around it is the biggest one. And the real question is, how do I want to highlight that? And yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. So that's the end. That's the end of my little video. This is not a particularly useful stencil. Maybe I'll some more stencils and do some more videos on them. But yeah, if you're looking for a stencil, I would not suggest buying this. The stamps, however, I will say the stamps are fabulous. You get a really crisp, clear stamp with them. Here's my month. And I squished that one too much, but you get a really nice, crisp, clear stamp with these. I've used them throughout my, actually, here's my, the days of the week are those stamps. And that's in a Baron Fig, dateless planner. So those, if you're looking for a little pocket planner, the Baron Fig dateless is really nice, and it takes rubber stamps really, really well. It's a very, very minimalist planner. But these stamps are fabulous, but the bundled with it thing is garbage. So any let me check the chat and see if I missed anything. Oh, Jesse, I caught that late. Sorry about that. So anyway, yeah, garbage. Not worth it. If you're buying a stencil, I would definitely look for the metal stencils or the heavier plastic stencils on Amazon, rather than this. It's just too floppy to be particularly useful. It's also not sized well for notebooks. It's not going to be able to easily carried in whatever kit you're using. If you're using pocket notebook size stuff, if you're using traveler's notebooks, obviously it's going to work a little better. Still going to be too floppy. But anyway, thanks for watching. And go check out Manuscripting Pod. I started loading it up to YouTube. So if you subscribe to my channel, you'll get the Manuscripting Pod stuff immediately. It shows up in your subscription box. And I do post on it about it to Facebook and Twitter when I post. Because of things going on in my life, I have had to lock down my Twitter. So if you are interested in following, you can go follow me on Twitter and I'll approve you. But just be aware that my Twitter is locked down for the time being. So thanks for watching. Go get yourself a delicious cup of coffee and avoid this stencil or thin, flimsy, flexible stencil packs like it. All right, bye.